Are we all set or?
Mine says it's recording, so I'm guessing so.
Okay, oh yeah, I see it. Okay, perfect. All right, then let's move forward with the meeting. Like I said, in the future, we're gonna try Teams. If not, we'll make sure we get the recording. Um, that way there won't be, there won't be any question. The one thing I wanted to bring to light tonight is the appointments haven't been made by the selectmen yet, so there'll be no voting tonight. This is gonna be sort of a breakout meeting, so going forward, we'll be able to vote on particular items. Did everybody get the materials I sent out? And Dominique, I'm gonna hand this off to you in a minute. And
I did.
I had sent out packets with everything about what we were discussing tonight. There was an agenda, there was Dominique did a very good job on the she had put together a draft survey. I was hoping people were gonna give it, Dan, I got your feedback. I was hoping some other people were gonna provide some feedback that we could possibly discuss. Should I take that as a no?
Was that the survey that said how you wanted the town to go, or was that the?
Well, it's just a survey we're gonna put online that I won't take Dominique's thunder from her because this is her show, really. She's gonna
Not
lead
at all.
us.
This is entirely about the town. This is your baby, and we're just helping you drive it a little bit. We just
Okay.
provide support and guidance. So let's see. Let me pull up the agenda real quick, and I can screen share if you'd like, Bill, as we talk
Sure.
about a few things. Okay. Okay, let's see. So for the agenda, so we can't appoint any election of officers or anything like that, since there's no way to vote tonight. But maybe we could just go around the room and figure out who's here, who's going to be here on a regular basis, who's on the committee, who's just dropping by for an overview.
All right, well, I'll start with me.
Okay.
Bill Ambrosino, I'm the chair of the planning board. This is an effort we've been working on for some time. I will let everybody know that currently CMRPC is also aiding Hopedale in their master plan. So they're pretty proficient at it. They've done some others. I've looked at them. They do a very nice job. For those of you who aren't aware, there's now a master plan committee website up. And it's tied in with Facebook, Instagram. What else? Is it just Facebook and Instagram, or?
Let's see. At this moment, it is just Facebook and Instagram. There are a few
Yeah,
other
that's
options that we could do, but yeah. So as Bill mentioned, CMRPC, the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, is helping the town with this project through a grant from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs and a match provided by our agency. So it's just totally grant driven, and we're excited to work with you as consultants. Right now, our agency is running about three other master plan processes. So we have, all of them are individual and unique and reflect your ideas and what you want to see, but we do have them down in terms of efficiency. So I will be able to, build in some of that to the project process and save everybody a little bit of time and strain. So in the preceding months, we have done some preparatory work, and if you'd like, we can jump to that. So we built the mendonmasterplan.com, which is a project website. I will show that to you if I can figure out how to pull it up. So this will be the primary project website. It will host everything from, Emily, can you screen share? Since I seem to be having a hard time doing it. Emily?
I got umbrellas.
I think she's working on
There we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so we've put together basically a landing page that will host everything from the, opportunity to take a community survey to overview about the project. So, who is the steering committee, who is CMRPC. And we found that this is a really great way just to have a central point to direct people to, although most of the traffic will come from social media, as is typical nowadays. Eventually, we will be synthesizing all the work that we do to create an online master plan that can eventually live here too. So it's not just, paper copies that live in somebody's closet. People will be able to get out there and really, interact with it, engage with it, and update it easily. So we're really excited about this aspect of it. Have you all taken a look at this website yet, or is this the first time most of you are seeing it?
This is the first time I'm seeing it, yes.
Okay.
First time, yeah.
Okay, so we took, talking to Bill, we took the liberty of putting this together before getting feedback from the committees. But again, this is, your product, your initiative. So take a good look at it. If there's anything that you would like, revised, changed, didn't quite hit the flavor of the community or what your vision would be, let us know. We'll get those fixed in a jiffy. Hope we got someone else. So here's Dan Byer. So right now, really the biggest focus of the website was trying to get people to join the steering committee, because that slowed down the process of kicking this off a little bit, was finding enough people to actually move this project along. So that's why you see this all over the website. But eventually it'll be, take master plan survey, do this, do that. It won't be so focused on joining the steering committee. So this is our team. We have a number of people behind us. It's not just Emily and I. We're a team 40 people strong. All professional planners, different focuses and skill sets, and so in the next couple weeks, if you want to go ahead and send me a headshot and a couple of sentences for a bio, that'd be lovely. As you'll see, they're just short little things. So 2 or 3 sentences would fit in this format as we have it designed at present. Let's take a look at the master plan Facebook page and the Instagram, and we can just move on from there. Yeah. So I don't know how many people we have on, about 79. So once this initiative is really up and running, I think we'll be able to drive traffic a fair amount with your help. But we're starting this off with 80 people already engaged and following on the website. So I think that's on Facebook. So I think that's a solid starting point.
Dominique, Dan is one of the more tech savvy people in the community. And Dan has taken on the initiative that he's going to help us with our social media.
Oh, tremendous. That's absolutely tremendous. Dan, so let's make Dan and anybody else who wants to be a co-administrator of the social media, if that's okay. And that way there's town representation managing the page, and we'll of course help out too. Is that okay, Dan?
Is Dan still with us?
That's fine.
Anybody else who wants to join, raise a hand or just let us know.
Yeah, I might think that we leave it with Dan for now, and if there's any input, we can handle it at the meetings.
Okay.
I'm not one of the people who like people just going and changing things.
Okay, tremendous. So let's see, back to the agenda, if we could, Emily, would that be possible? Yeah, so while the committee's been looking, Bill and the town have been looking for people to join the committee, we've continued making progress on these fronts. We've put together some other outreach materials, printed flyers to help promote the committee in advance of launching a survey, different things. But maybe what we could do is just take it from the top and give you a rundown of, what we expect this project to look like in terms of a time frame. I will pull up my screen again. So this is phase one of the project. So phase one, we were able to get funding to complete the first 3 chapters of the master plan. Phase two would be, a set of remaining chapters. There are 4 that still have funding yet to be allocated. The good news is that as we speak, there's a grant open. The same grant that funded phase one is now open, and I've been speaking with Bill about, pursuing this in order to fund phase two, which would do the remaining chapters. So I think, assuming that that is how the committee and town would like to proceed, I think we're on track to have funding for the whole project. So.
Spinning.
Spinning.
Okay, so you guys don't have anything up there either then, right?
Sorry?
I don't have anything on, there it is.
There we go. Yep. Okay, so this is some high level points of what we're looking at. So, for the last few months, you just take it from the top. For the last few months, we've been doing some background work, getting the website going, getting the social media up and running, working on a benchmark review, which is basically we take every plan we can find from Mendon and compile all of the recommendations and then distribute it and see so that the town can tell us this has been done, this recommendation is complete, no, this one isn't complete, it should be pursued, no, what's been done, what hasn't, what's no longer relevant. And that, as a consultant team, that gives us a really good starting point to understand, how much, what's been done so far. So we've been doing all of that in the background, and that brings us to May, our kickoff meeting. Today we're hoping to accomplish, reviewing what's been done in the past, reviewing the website, the social media, the outreach, talking about phase two funding, and talking about the community survey, which we put together in advance for you guys. In June, if all of this depends on your pace, but we have until June of 2022 to finish up this first phase. So we have about a year. In July, looking at launching the survey today, if that worked for you, or pending your edits or feedback, or sometime in the near future, looking at closing it approximately July, looking at a photo contest to solicit photos for the master plan. In August, potentially you could host a visioning workshop to get some feedback from the town, the rest of the town on what their hopes and dreams for the town of Mendon are, especially in light of the survey findings. And then in November, we're hoping to have funding to begin phase two. So we'll move along on that track. Hopefully being done I'd love to see everything done by June, both phase one and phase two. So that's kind of a high level of what we're looking at. And in the spring, a lot of it will be internal, CMRPC taking all of the recommendations and things that we've worked on with you and synthesizing them, preparing narrative, analyzing data, things like that. So, a lot of 2022 will be internal, but we'll continue meeting on a monthly basis.
If we see the process accelerating, we can squeeze that timetable in even more.
So for me, that feels like a squeeze. So initially we drafted this timeline, not considering phase one, right? Phase two. So this June was for phase one. I think we can squeeze phase two into the same timeline, but I would be setting our expectations extremely high to say we could squeeze phase one and phase two further.
Okay.
If you want to push, we can, but I'd say.
Well, we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how the critical piece that seems to always occur is, and has happened the last 2 times we attempted it, is kind of falls apart. I think with you guys more involved this time, I think we're going to be able to drive the people that are on the committee to stay with it, to focus, to get things done. That's always was an issue in the past. We were attempting to write it ourselves during those 2 prior attempts against my better judgment, but I think with this time, with you guys pulling it all together and drafting it, I think it'll move quicker along.
Yeah, I really commend the town on its effort to do it, attempt to do it primarily internally last round. And that's a huge lift for any community, especially one with fewer staff. And, yeah, I think as we'll take a lead on project management, and we'll make sure you hit your goals and we'll get this done, both because the town's asked us to, but also we're accountable to the state for making sure the grant accomplishes.
Yes,
what they funded.
we don't want to lose that grant money.
No, we don't want to lose that grant. We want the next one too. So,
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
let's see here. Okay, let's go back to the agenda if we can. Emily, can you pull up the agenda? I don't want to get us off track here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have it prepared, so it might take me a minute.
Oh, it's okay. It's I have a hard time sometimes switching between the tabs with the screen share. Oh, here it is actually.
Oh, yeah, it's
Okie dokie. So the other thing we'd like to talk about is the draft survey. I know that for most of you, this is the first time that you're seeing it. The sooner we launch the survey, the sooner that as a consultant team, we can really start providing you with content to start working with. The survey will provide a lot of the foundation for everything, for the vision statement, for the goals and objectives, for the recommendations. So for me, that's like the sooner you launch it, the sooner we can really get rolling. If you wanted to take a quick look at it, we can run through it tonight to some extent, and then set a goal for coming back and launching it. Let's see, how do we make you bigger?
There is a typo on number 27.
On number 27? What is it?
Yeah, you refer to the famous town of Rutland.
Oh dear, okay. That was my model for this. I'm also working.
Yeah, actually Rutland's came out very good too, so.
Oh, good, you saw Rutland's.
Yes, I did.
Good. Okay, so I guess maybe the first step we can set is, let's try to set a target for when this working group would like to try to get the survey out. Is that okay to do as a working group? We'll come up with some objective.
What's it, could you repeat that?
Yeah. When would the group like to try to launch this survey?
I would. I'll try to filter it a little bit as to, because there's several people going to have several different, may have several different impacts of the same question. So I'll try to blend it together and like there is one question there in here about the demolition delay bylaw. We currently already have one.
Okay.
I don't know, I forget what page it was on, but
I will check that and make sure
yeah, we have a
make sure
demolition delay bylaw currently.
Okay. All right, so we will
Quick
try to launch
question.
this on June 2nd. Yep,
Quick
go ahead.
question, and the launch format will be what? Can you,
Online.
online only?
Yeah, now, Dominique, what is going to be, is there any protections against people logging on and voting a million times, or?
I haven't ever encountered that. And usually we make the name and the contact information optional, because otherwise some people won't participate. So I don't think we can, I don't know of any way through the platform that we typically use to control that, but I've never heard of it being an issue. Now,
Yeah,
in terms
I
of,
mean, if it's fine, if you haven't had issue with it, if, I mean, it's kind of a large one to mail to everyone. That's what we did in the last two, but they were only, 6 or 7 pages. This one's pretty lengthy and goes into a lot of detail. I like the survey. I think it, if we can't figure out what the town wants as a community by this, I think we'll have a hard time ever figuring out. But we did have a large amount of response to the mailed ones. It was over 60% of the households that responded.
That's a pretty good response rate.
Yeah, it was unusual, believe me.
I did look at that survey and I incorporated elements of it into this where I thought it made sense. I had envisioned doing sort of a mixed data collection on this. So what we've been doing is, for the most part, is
I see you kind
primarily
of broke it down into almost into
Sorry?
sections. You broke it down almost into sections already of commercial, housing, land. So, I think that's the best way of handling, if everybody wants to go through it now that it's bigger and I can actually see it, we can flip through the survey probably pretty quickly.
Sure, if the group is okay with that, let's do it. So the first section is a general section. We ask questions like, what is your connection to Mendon? Resident, homeowner, business owner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty standard stuff. Just understand is answering what are the following items are most important to your quality of life in Mendon? Select your top 5 choices. Another general question. What is Mendon's greatest strength? Select your top 3 choices. These are just kind of warm-up questions. And I mean, there are stuff we really do want to know, but they ease in a little bit. Number 4, what is your which of the following influenced your decision to live in Mendon? Mark all that apply. Quality of housing, residential neighborhoods, taxes, et cetera, how do you rate the following public facilities and services? And we water, fire, police, things like that. So that's the end of the general section. Then we move on to housing, and we ask some targeted questions around this topic in particular. And we tried to make it as simple as possible. Just agree, disagree, or neutral, neither agree nor disagree. So the town needs more diverse housing stock to increase housing opportunities for a wide range of potential residents. Agree, neither agree or disagree, So that's the approach we've taken on most of the questions, just to make it, we used to build in, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the one question I had about this, and of course, being the town's planner, basically, was the impact that, and I have it here, the impact that Governor Baker's Progressive Zoning Act is going to.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Governor Baker just signed in the changes to 40A, and it's pretty progressive as far as housing. Mendon's not obviously used to multi-unit dwelling. I mean, the only thing we allow is duplexes. We don't do cluster. We do open space. That's about as far as it gets. So, and Mendon is one of those towns on the list that were nearby municipal transportation. So I just didn't know how it was going to impact these questions.
That's a really good question. When I drafted this, I didn't take that into a huge account. So there's 2 ways this could go, right? Maybe
the town refuses to make those changes and lives without the grant money.
Yeah, well,
that's possible.
That's not what I imagined, but yes. In terms of the survey, let me run it by our expert who's a little bit more up to date on the policy changes that are coming in the pipeline for that, and make sure that we haven't overlooked something. I imagine these changes are going to impact almost all the communities in the Commonwealth, and
absolutely. And they've only given us through 2022 to incorporate these. We just had an overlay, mixed use overlay that got turned down at town meeting. Where, I mean, if the town feels it needs the HUD funding, this overlay would have given the town more of an opportunity to control what goes in this district as opposed to what Mendon may be forced to allow in this district.
Can I ask
So
a
if-
question on 7?
Go ahead. Daniel?
So when we say in the Mendon Center, are we talking about just that Mendon Center down where the town hall is? Because
I
if-
think we're talking around the triangle, Lonnie.
That's what I was talking about, yes.
Okay, so other than the only non-residential buildings in that triangle, all have upstairs residential already.
Yeah. I mean, that could blend out onto Route 16 and, you know, what would have to be, you know, there'd have to be zoning applied to it. So we'll try and interpret the response as best we can, Lonnie.
Yeah, or maybe even if we could expand it from that triangle a bit. I mean, again, do we want to see it a little, I don't want to beat it to death right now, but do we want to see it a little bit more in our commercial district as far as expanding it along Route 16, or do we only want it in that triangle?
Well, we no longer allow a single family dwelling within the commercial district.
But that's not what that question is
Oh,
asking.
right, you're right. I see what you're saying.
So is your suggestion that we should maybe expand this question a little bit to the town should work to expand housing opportunities on the upper floors of non-residential buildings in and around Mendon Center?
Yeah, that would be,
Just
Yeah,
tweak it a
I
little?
would even, I mean, my opinion, and again, maybe there's a reason why we wouldn't do this, so just tell me. Well, why wouldn't we just say anywhere? I mean, if we can gain it, again, the Mendon Center is what if we consider that triangle, anything that has a second floor and is commercial already has housing up there.
I gotcha.
I
Thank you.
think Lonnie brings up a point also. Like, if we have a question, should we raise our hand, or are you looking at that? 'Cause I don't know.
I think Dan is.
Yes, I think Dan is the next in line. I apologize for
Okay.
not getting to
Okay,
them.
I'll wait.
As long as it feels manageable to everybody, I'm also happy with people just jumping in. I think it's okay, as you prefer. Dan, why don't you go ahead, and then we'll take Ann, and then we'll take Bob Sweet.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask maybe what method do you want submitting? Like, I have a ton of questions about this survey. Do we want to go through everything now, or do you want to collect responses from people through emails and compile them?
Well,
Yeah,
I think what I would like
That's all.
everybody to do is send them all to me. And then I'll put them in a list to send to Dominique. And then we can, her and I can talk about, how to incorporate those. Because I don't think it's just going to be a matter of, I think this meeting will go on to 11 o'clock if we
Yeah.
do it that way. And it'd be extremely difficult. I mean, we're gonna get an opportunity at the next meeting to look over the final result.
Okay, like you said, I think, there's an opportunity for a lot of different questions about historic, demo delay, water, sewer. I mean, we could, like you said, we could be here at 11 o'clock.
Oh, one thing I should mention, this is, sorry, we got a little bit off of the agenda in terms of following the order. Okay, so this survey is specific only to the sections for which there's funding. So we
Right.
developed a survey only for housing, economic development, and land use. Of course, these topics are interdisciplinary, and they don't work in just these very confined buckets. But we've tried to leave out questions that will need to be asked for the other sections for a section for a subsequent survey.
And that's the stuff I'm talking about, Dan, that I have to go with Dominique, because she's driving this thing and I don't want to go over every single question to find out that that's a later section. you know, we may be able to answer those questions at the next meeting.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't realize, I assume we were surveying anything related to the town's future here.
I mean,
Well,
normally that's how we would do it, but this phased approach is a newer approach that we're taking. So, you know, in the past, we used to do a comprehensive master plan update or development, and they're very expensive. And so in that case, we would do a survey for all the topics, but here we've just left it to the sections that we'll be able to develop at this point.
yeah, keep in mind, everyone, that this is wrapped around how we're funding it. So, believe me, I went outside to a couple companies and got an estimate of what take them to write it for us. And it was like $140,000, and, you know, and they're no better. Believe me, they're no better at
Thank you, Bill.
accomplishing. Yeah.
We hope to provide, you know, a really great product at a really great, you know, price for our communities. So if you decide that you want to incorporate the other sections, questions into the survey, that's an approach, and I understand it, and we can do that. It will certainly delay the launch of the survey a little bit. And we may not be able to use the information immediately, but if you think that the residents are having survey fatigue and we should put it into one long survey instead of two medium-length surveys.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think to get them to fill out this one, you know, entirely is going to be enough. If we try to incorporate everything, we'll lose them.
Okay, so you think it's better to split it into two then?
Yes, I did. I personally do, but everybody's welcome to their opinion. I think if you make a survey too long, you kind of drive people away from it.
I've noticed some attrition on one of the other communities I'm working in. The responses do drop off about halfway.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if
Now
anyone
we
has
have
any input.
Anne.
Yeah, I just had one question, which refers to the comment that Lonnie made. I think the Mendon Center should be defined, because I don't think people really know what that's referring to. That's all.
We could
We
put
can do
some
that.
target maps.
Yeah, we can certainly do some target maps. You know, we've talked about several, and when we get to the next phases, you're going to hear a conversation about a village district that I've kind of been envisioning for the town quite some time. It expands well outside the triangle. So that'll be something we'll be talking about.
I just have a question looking through the survey. Wondering if you're going to try to incorporate in the second survey some sort of way to kind of find out what types of businesses we already have in town in terms of self-reporting business owners. Like the EDC was trying to launch a similar survey. I know we briefly talked about trying to incorporate those questions into what you guys are doing. And one thing we're trying to do is get kind of identify what types of businesses the town already has, and go from there. Is there any way you're planning on figuring that out through?
Absolutely. So that will be a critical component of the economic development section that is not significantly represented in this survey. The approach that I would typically take in the past is to start with, you know, the town records and see who's filed the doing business as license. Then there's also, you know, economic census information. So you can look at who's filed licenses with the town, and then also look at, you know, the economic surveys that show by, you know, by industry code, how many businesses of which type.
We could actually write a survey specifically for the commercial businesses within the community.
Cool.
You could.
And I guess my second part of that question is, you know, given that we are on May 29th coming out of a very rough time for businesses, is there any way we could, using their survey process, try to figure out exactly how businesses in Mendon have been impacted? And
I have that survey developed already. I have one that we can use. It's already put together. It's not for Mendon, but
awesome.
it's usable for Mendon. So
Thank you.
I will get that. I will just give that to Bill and he can distribute it, and the EDC and others can talk about how they might like to use it.
Perfect. Thank you.
You will definitely want it for the master plan. That would be great. Well, and Bob Sweet.
Dominic, I just wanted to say thank you to you and Emily for taking the time, using your expertise to help Mendon get into a better place. One of the questions I have is if we do the residential up above commercial buildings in a wider range, how would that affect a split rate tax rate?
You
I
know
mean,
that you want
yeah.
to take this, Bill? I need to ponder that for a minute.
Yeah, no, the problem Mendon has right now with the dual tax rate is we don't have one, number one.
Right, but if we get one, then
Well,
won't this be
the
a problem?
question, mixed use has a way of calculating that, and that's what it would be defined as, mixed use. But Mendon doesn't offer currently any services to the commercial, no water, no sewer, just basic town, police and fire.
Right.
So to have a dual
Mhm.
tax rate in Mendon is extremely prohibitive to any commercial development. I mean, we have businesses who use an excess land for septic systems. They normally would be developable. And, having to replace those systems over a period of time, water issues, so it Mendon becomes less desirable for any type of business to come here if you put in a dual tax rate.
Well, okay, one last question then. The survey that I tried to fill out earlier wouldn't, on the multi-answer questions, it wouldn't let me choose more than one answer. Has anybody else had the problem?
On this particular survey, you tried to fill it out already?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
isn't up
yeah.
online, Bob, yet. There's no way for them to capture the results.
Okay.
You gotta wait till it goes up. This is only a draft.
Doesn't it say that it's at the town hall though to pick up and fill out?
No, it will be. It's not there
Okay, so
yet.
it's not ready yet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for. I didn't know if I was going to the town hall and getting one.
No, this
No,
hasn't been
this is just a
published.
draft.
Okay,
Yeah, this hasn't been publicized yet.
thank you.
First, we want to get your feedback and make sure this is, on point and what you're looking for. So my thought with launching the survey was that, primarily online, both for, economic and environmental reasons, as well as, outreach, but then to maybe have a couple of paper copies available so that if people really aren't online or don't want to be for some reason, that they can fill it out, and then we'll input the data manually after we collect them. So
Well,
if
I
there were a
think-
couple spots.
Yeah, I think there'll have to be some type of community outreach to like the senior center, people who aren't commonly, around a computer all the time. So, if they filled it out already online, great. If not, we can give them a paper copy to fill out.
So does anybody else have any thoughts on this? And Bob, thank you. That's it's a pleasure to work with you guys. It really is. So any other, things you'd like to mention or talk about at the survey at this time, or do you want to just try to get your feedback to Bill in the next week? And we can, add in the feedback and come back on the June 2nd meeting with something ready to go that incorporates all your.
Just a question for Bill. Bill, did you email this to folks?
Yeah, I emailed it to everybody, and they should have forwarded the one I sent to
Okay.
when I sent the email to the boards.
Okay, I'll just take a look. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if not, just reach out to me.
Okay,
And I'm gonna probably be reaching out to some of you who have, who I do not have an email address for. Actually, if anyone who didn't see their name or hasn't seen their name listed or hasn't been in touch with me, if you could send me an email. With, obviously I'll be able to get your email address and just a little bit of information, which board you're on or which, what you represent. It'd be great, so I can put it in the binder. Because I really want to, keep track of who in everyone that's on the committee and being able to quickly follow up with emails and lists. So, because eventually you guys, if everybody wants, we can share the list. And then everybody gets and people can contact one another. I don't share people's email addresses unless they tell me it's okay. So that's why most of it went out in blind copy. It's just not something I'm in a habit of doing.
I just have a question on the survey. Are you thinking of doing it in two surveys, or are you keeping with the one?
I think we're gonna do it in two, Ann. I
So,
think
okay,
this is long enough. And the other four sections are gonna be kind of entirely different questions.
so how will it be divided up?
What do you
So
mean?
the remaining, so this covers the first 3 chapters, which were funded by the state and by matching grant from us. So this survey addresses land use, economic development, and housing only. And the subsequent survey would be for whatever remaining chapters are funded, hopefully through this grant that we're going to apply for in May for the town. So that would be transportation, town facilities and services, natural resources, and cultural and historic resources. So potentially 4 chapters.
Okay, I thought that you were thinking of dividing this survey up, but you're not. Okay,
Oh, no.
No.
got it.
I have a follow-up on that. Is there a way we can make that clear in the overview that this is the first of 2 surveys, so people understand that, this is the only key sections you're going to be filling out today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea that we can talk about. There'll be future, not only future, there'll be future workshops and surveys that they'll be able to voice their opinion.
So
Did you
if there's
catch
nothing-
that? Did you
I
catch that,
did.
Dominic?
I did. So we'll make sure, maybe we included some in the overview, some language in there, but we'll make sure it really stands out. If there's nothing else on the survey for tonight, then I guess the only other thing that I really wanted to emphasize this evening was, the success of the outreach we find is really contingent upon having a motivated committee who's engaged in promoting it to their networks. So if you haven't already, liked mendonmasterplan.com, liked Mendon Master Plan on Facebook or gone to mendonmasterplan.com and subscribed, it starts with you guys. So
Yeah, and people
please
share
do.
share as much as you can and even invite people. There's an invite button right there on the side, on the Facebook page. Drive people to this thing.
We can see the traffic go up, and I know when somebody is promoted to their network, it's boom, right? We
Yeah.
see that it really makes a huge difference. So please do.
I had one question on question 2 in the survey. So you're asking residents to select your top 5 choices, and out of 20 choices. So I wonder if there's a way of splitting those up, all of those choices into perhaps 2 subsets. Just because, once people are done saying, oh yeah, I would really want high-speed internet, and I'd really like, good neighbors or neighborhoods, you don't have too many additional options. So, how do you dig a little deeper with some of these questions?
Yeah, we can look at trying to split it up. Initially, I had these designed into ranking matrices where like, rank, basically a 1 through 5, agree, strongly disagree, and people that I've tested with didn't like it. So I tried to break them up this way, but I think we can probably refine this into 2. I think it's a great idea, Anne. If anybody sees a way that we could, another way to tackle it, send in your comments and we'll try it out. And
Yeah, Kathy, if you have any, if you want to send me an email regarding what you're referring to,
Sure.
we can capture all that and then we can, I can incorporate it with the information I send to Dominique. And then Dominique and I can discuss how we're best going to fit it. And then on the 2nd, we can talk about it and hopefully approve the survey.
Okay, I'll do that, Bill.
wonderful. All right, well, let me escape out of this and go back to our agenda and see how we're doing. It's primarily what we wanted to cover. So Bill took Emily and I through a guided tour around Mendon a couple weeks ago, and
I was just-
of course
Yeah, I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to mention that.
I am solidly convinced that in my next life, I want to live in Mendon. What a beautiful, wonderful community. This is really, as a planner, this is the kind of community you want to get to write a plan for. This is what a lovely place. Okay, let's see. Here's our agenda. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem. I mean, it was a good day and it was, took actually 2 solid hours to show the day, and we could have gone on further, I think, but we covered a lot of territory.
So let's see what we've accomplished. Call to orders done, project overviews done, introductions. Maybe
Yeah, we didn't
can
really
wait.
do it.
Yeah.
I think we skipped that part.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you would like to take it or you want to wait until we have the official, appointments in place and when we can see who's fully
Yeah,
on the committee.
I would save that to the next meeting for right now. And only because there aren't as many people on here as I would have. There's about, I think, 3 or 4 missing.
Okay.
So I would like to make sure I know we have yeah, there's 3 or 4 missing that I would like to be on here. So hopefully we can get them all on the next meeting.
Okay, great. So let's see, election of officers will need to hold CMRPC preparatory efforts. That we've gone through that. We've talked about tasks and timeline. That's done. Next meeting date set. In terms of review of interim tasks, so Bill, could you recirculate the draft survey to everybody and try to submit your feedback? And if it's okay, within 1 week, that'll give us 1 week to review everything and incorporate it.
I will do it as soon as the meeting's over.
Wonderful.
Because, well, hopefully, if anybody hasn't sent me their email address that's on the meeting tonight, please do, just to make sure I have it, so I can make sure everybody gets it.
And I have nothing else. Is there any other business you, Bill, or anyone else in the working group tonight would like to raise?
I have one question. Well, I got Tom on the meeting. Tom, are you going to be the representative or the gentleman you gave me the name of?
It's going to be Tony Jenna.
Tony Jenna. He's on, I think.
He's on tonight, yes.
Okay. All right. I just need to mark down who the representative is. So, Tony, welcome aboard.
Glad to be here.
All right.
And Bill, do you have Nick Ciantra's email? I mean, he's on the FinCom, so he's got a Mendon
Yeah.
email.
Tony, do you have a Mendon email?
I do, but I'd be lying if I said I use it.
Okay. Well, mine is on the, it's on the master plan site and it's also on the planning board site. So if you could just send me your information.
Yeah, you got it.
You know, that way I can, and Nick, I can get off the FinCom, so we'll be all right.
Okay, anything further from anybody at all?
I saw that, Dan. Sneaking up there.
Dominic, I actually have one more question about the survey.
Sure.
I'm not really on the master plan committee, but I mean, I can assist in the open space and that aspect of it, land use. But we had talked about on the survey, adding questions that would fulfill the survey questions for the open space and recreation plan.
Yes, we had talked about that. Thank you for the reminder, Anne. That had gotten away from me. Did you guys end up getting the funding for the open space plan update?
We did, yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, thank you again, CMRPC. But yeah, so I just, Dan and I will be interested in making sure that the open space and recreation questions get on the survey also.
Do you have, what phase are you at? Do you have the questions? Who are you working with and at this point in time on that? And do you have the questions drafted? Or does your,
Yeah,
does someone-
Dan and I can send you some questions.
That would
Yes.
be wonderful. If that's okay, maybe when we have the committee officially convening in 2 weeks, we can just confirm that that's okay, but that's,
okay.
I think it's well worth doubling up and getting your.
Yeah,
It makes
Dan, if you
sense.
could send them to me so that I can compile them and all the additions and changes.
Okay,
And that way, we can have it prepared and I can send it out after Dominique and I get it done next week.
okay. I'll talk with Dan and we'll do that.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right, wonderful.
I have one more, not necessarily a question, but is there, for anyone who hasn't been involved in a master plan, is there a good sample that people can reference just so they can get familiar with where the end of the game is for everyone?
Sure,
Well, if
you
you
know what
want-
I'll do? I'll put together a project Dropbox with I'll have a folder for every meeting where you can access the materials in advance, and afterwards we'll put the agenda, we'll put anything you need to review. Obviously, Bill will set, or whoever is the chair will send that to you in advance, but that way you'll be able to find it, and I will put the links to some previous master plans that we worked on in there.
Okay, all right. And I guess my final question is, I'm not sure if we can answer it tonight, but jumping ahead to the completion of the master plan, is it something that has to go in front of the town for a vote, or is it done through the Board of Selectmen?
No, it doesn't. It's actually done by the planning board, but I think you get more town buy-in if we run it. There's different views on this. I particularly think we'd be better off running it across town floor. It's a lengthy document, though.
Yeah.
It may be, I'm not sure. Where do you stand on that, Dominique?
I think it depends. So
Town floor is tough to something that size.
it is, and you really can't get into the nitty gritty of it in a meaningful way on town floor. But then again, by the time we get to having a final document, it really needs to be in the condition where if we're bringing it to town meeting, it basically needs to be done. We can't have, somebody come
Right.
back and say, I've seen this before. So we will work with we've worked in one of the master plans I worked on, we worked with the community with a steering committee, and they developed all the goals and the objectives and the recommendations, and they floated them by all the various committees, and nobody had anything to say. And then we wrote an entire plan based on those goals and objectives. And then after the fact, the other committees came back and say, hey, we don't agree. You missed this, or this was not, so I think we need to be careful to get your grant dollars to stretch as far as possible by doing it right the first way, like the first
Yeah.
time. So let's do as much outreach beforehand before we get to town meetings, so that the whole community is, a large swath of the community is meaningful involved.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I can't speak for my entire board either. that would be something we would vote on and within the planning board, Kathy. And, you know, either way, in the planning board's rules and regulations, once this is completed, it's going to be reviewed once a year to make sure that the impacts being made within the community by the planning board,
Right.
and to make sure it's happening. You know, this is a planning issue. This is, you know, we try and collect the data that we deem necessary. And, you know, it allows the planning board to know what their objectives going forward are also. So to answer your question,
Yes.
it can, but it doesn't have to. It's not required.
Okay, all right. No, I was just curious to know. There was
Yep.
some debate last time as to how it
Yeah,
got to the finish line.
yeah, like I said, that's a tough document to put on town floor.
Oh, yeah.
Only because for Dominique's reasoning, it just, you know, to really get anything substantive out of a town meeting would be difficult.
Oh, sure.
I can't write a 3-paragraph zoning change without creating an hour's worth of dialogue.
Yeah.
But I'll get back to you, Dominique.
Well, there's nothing else on my agenda. We've covered it succinctly. All I want to do is say thank you so much for, you know, for the opportunity to work with you. We're thrilled and look forward to this one. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great process. So.
Dominique, I won't be available tomorrow, but I'll probably coordinate with you again on Wednesday.
Wednesday's perfect, Bill. I'll look forward.
All right. If you're enjoying vacation, just don't pick up.
No, don't you worry. That sounds perfect. We'll talk on Wednesday.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Anybody have anything else? We all set? I'll take that as a no. Good night, everyone, and thanks for joining the meeting. Thanks for joining the committee. And obviously, thank you, Dominique and Emily. You're going to be a big help.
Have a wonderful night. Talk to you
You
soon.
too.
Night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Well, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.